From last edition, we could see what happened as Ayo could not got a new shoe in Bata store, and how the news follow her to the school by Miss Kuti, and how Ayo's father promised to start teaching her Anafe during the holiday. So what is Mr. Alade's decision about the golden opportunity given to him from the university? This is a true life story. The name and the location has been changed. Mr. Alade came back with good news that his head of department told him to apply for his master degree of a year and a half, as the department want to employ him as an assistant lecturer since he graduated with good grade in his undergraduate studies. Immediately he said this, his wife Mrs. Alade looked cold, turned his eyes in Ayo's direction, opened her mouth slightly, then she struggled and kept quiet. And the children, who didn't understand the importance of what their dad was saying, also kept quiet. And the whole house was silent. This silence in the house also surprised Mr. Alade, which made him to ask in surprise, my wife, say something about what I just said. And he repeated, I said my head of department said I should come for my master degree program, that the department is willing to retain me as assistant lecturer. Then Mrs. Alade said, do what you think is right, and she kept quiet, which simply means she was not in support of him going back to school for his master program, and she did not want to say it verbally, but her long quietness and response were loud enough for the family member to understand her intention. Mr. Alade continued, I've told the head of department I'm not interested, but he said I should think about it and come back since the form will be out in next 2 months, and if I'm interested, I should drop the money for the form with the promise to help me obtain the form and process my admission. Then he paused and have a long deep breath, looked desperately into his wife's eye and said, actually, it was not that I'm not interested in the program. Then he turned and looked at his children's direction and said, it was because of you, my children. I have to stop and have enough time to monitor you because you are my future. Ayo looked at her mom and she observed her mom look relieved, though she was quiet for some minutes, and later she muttered, that decision you took was okay by me. For a woman to allow this golden opportunity that was given to her husband from the university where he graduated from to slide away just like that, then you begin to wonder, maybe this man is a bad husband or a bad father or a bad in-law. Then the question is, who is Mr. Alade? Mr. Alade is from a humble background. His father was a farmer with 2 wives. His mom was the first wife, and she was a trader, while the second wife was a farmer. Their dad had 12 children, which made up of 8 male children and 4 female children. Even though his father was a farmer, he trained all his male children. He would have trained his female children too, but in those days, it was believed that female children should not be educated because they will end up in the kitchen. That was the reason the female children were not educated. Mr. Alade is a young man of an average height in his early 30s. He was dark brown in complexion. He doesn't drink nor smoke cigarettes, for he carries himself with quiet strength and humility. His brown skin glows with health, and his eyes warm and attentive. He is confident, marked with wisdom beyond his age, because he knows what to do at any situation he finds himself. He smiles easily, which often lightens up the face and puts others who came close to him at ease. And for so doing, he was loved by his children, neighbors, and strangers that came in contact with him. In the neighborhood, he was known and loved for his integrity and the way he treats others with fairness and compassion. This made him to be respected by everyone. When it comes to dressing, Mr. Alade dressed in a way to be addressed, so emotionally, he take a realistic decision, and in actual dressing, you hardly caught him unaware. You will never see him dress in an old attires because he believed the way you dress is the way you will be addressed. And without missing words, Mr. Alade is a very good man to the core. The fact that Mr. Alade didn't smoke or drink showed that he sacrificed his pleasure for his nuclear family. Because in the 1960s, any man who doesn't smoke or drink were believed to be responsible, godly, and has sincere love for his wife and children. Without much word, we could see Mr. Alade was someone that loved his family dearly and a devoted father to his children. Moreover, he balanced gentleness with discipline. He listened to his children and teach them through example to create a home filled with laughter, learning, and love. His children adore him, not out of fear, but out of respect and admiration. He's a lover of story and he tells his children his life stories as he was growing up as a teenager to a young man, some tales and historical background of his father and their hometown, Akunkun. As we all know, someone like Mr. Alade had many friends, but there are two of them from Akunkun, his hometown, that were his core friends right from childhood. They were Mr. John Kuye and Mr. Kola Adeyi. The three of them grew together till adulthood. Even among the three friends, Mr. Alade was a loyal companion to each of them. He never leaves any of them in joyful moments or in their hard times. In the 60s in Nigeria, despite the hardness of times and the pressure of growing up in a polygamous family, moreover, he always participated in all the social activities that was going on around him, and which was one of the reasons he was loved and fully appreciated by all asunder. He was a role model to his children because he was a man whose character speaks louder than his words. Then, if a man had this good virtue, you wonder why his wife doubted his loyalty by not giving him the needed moral support. The situation was just like a Yoruba proverb which says, "Ẹni tó lórí kò ní fìlà." His wife acted most of the time as if she was tired of their union, and so she was not ready to support the husband to fulfill his dream nor value their children. Despite all this, Mr. Alade remained focused and purposeful. To get a clear picture of how Mr. Alade valued education, she proceeded from Modern 3, where his father stopped training him, to Grade 2 course to obtain teacher training certificate, then National College of Education for NCE certificate, after which she trained his wife to Teacher Training College to obtain teacher training certificate, while he proceeded for his university education. It was after the university that he came with good news, which should be a joyful moment for any woman who appreciates the progress of her family. Few days after this incident, Ayo, Afe, Adufe, and Gbemi, the girl living with Miss Kuti, were playing with toys in the backyard. By this time, every other neighbors in the house were not around save Miss Kuti, who never treated Ayo and Afe well. Ayo's mom, who strapped her little boy, then knocked at Miss Kuti's door, and when she opened, Mrs. Alade moved close to her. By now, Miss Kuti was standing by her doorpost. Mrs. Alade looked desperate, at the same time sarcastic, and said, "My husband said he was going for his postgraduate degree program. He said his head of department encouraged him to come for it with the promise to employ him afterward." Ayo noticed Miss Kuti was surprised by how she slightly opened her mouth and her eyes widened, but at the same time she kept quiet. It was a shock for her to hear a woman was not ready to support her husband to make progress. But her quietness must be because she could see the desperation in Mrs. Alade's voice. Ayo heard her mom saying, "I told him to take his decision and tell me what he wanted to do." Mrs. Alade paused and then continued. "He thought I would support him to go for his postgraduate degree. So by the time he graduated, he would then marry the second wife. I would be left over at home with these children. God forbid." Then she looked into Ayo's direction, who was playing with her younger ones at the same time listening to what she was discussing with Miss Kuti. Then she shrugged and said, if he like, let him leave his children and further pursue his higher education qualification at the detriment of his children. He will meet them where he left them. As for me, I have my grade 2 certificate to work with. When I retire, I will be receiving pension from government till I die. At this time, she was looking at Miss Kuti desperate to validate her words and action. But rather than validating her action, Miss Kuti kept quiet, looked at her in despair. Then she entered her room without uttering a word, while Ayo looked at her mom and was surprised, wondering why her mom should be thinking that way. Mrs. Alade looked at Ayo, Afe and Adufe, her children, disgustedly, shook her head, hissed, shrugged, and left the scene. While Ayo looked at her mom in shock till she vanished out of her sight. That was when she entered the living room. Then she continued playing with her sibling. As we all know, lot of things happened in Mr. Alade's family when he was in the university for him to make the decision of rejecting the master degree program. If we all remember, when Afe was down of muses and was left to die on the sick bed, when their mom stopped Ayo from playing with him and strapped Adufe on her back so that he would not be infected, saying whatever happened to him would be on him only, if not for the mercy of God that brought their dad from school, who took him to the hospital. Another day was when Ayo was sick, when he was in primary 3, and she vomited in the classroom. And Mrs. Alade started abusing her or being an hindrance to her mom's progress. The last one that Mr. Alade witnessed was the most shocking. If we could remember when Ayo and Afe was sick and their mom was accusing Ayo from eating palm kernel and infected Afe with it, and both of them were left to suffer at home instead of being taken to the hospital. Not only that, the moral life of Ayo and Afe were now at risk because Ayoka, a 14-year-old girl, is now in Form 3. She had a boyfriend called Felix. Ajayi, a 12-year-old boy who is now in Form 1, come home late every day. Even though this wasn't reported to their father, he often witnessed this when he come visiting. He has never met Ajayi at home. He always come back to meet their dad at home, and when asked where he was coming from, there will be no tangible answer, because after closing from school, he always had a place to go with his friend, like going to the river for fishing and following his friend to the bush to pluck seasonal fruit. His situation could be best described as a cowboy. He even followed them to Masquerade Forest during Masquerade Festival. As an adult, you could imagine what those children will have turned to in the next 2 years before their dad graduated for his master program. These and many more are the things happening in the life of Mr. Alade's children. Aside many unthinkable punishments Ayoka and Ajayi were subjected to by their mom, which they often reported to their father whenever he was back from school. Their mom often staffed Ayoka and Ajayi for any slightest provocation and told Afe to sit and eat the food he accidentally poured on the floor when he was carrying it. So a thoughtful and a good father like Mr. Alade could sense danger ahead, especially on his children who are gradually turning into teenagers. Ade is now 16 years old, writing his West Africa examination WAEC exam. Although he was in the boarding school under the tutelage of the housemaster, Ayoka is now 14 years old. Ajayi is now 12. Ayo, a 10-year-old girl who is emotionally traumatized and had low self-esteem. Afe is 8 years old. Adufe is 3 years old. And the little baby boy called Are. The last straw that broke the camel back was the poor academic performance of Ayo and Afe in the last resort, which their parents were not happy about. And so, Mr. Alade said he would personally coach them during the holiday so they could have good academic performance when the school resumed. Remember, Mr. Alade is a practicing farmer. Now that he was at home with all his children, They go to farm every day except on Sunday. And so it was after closing from the farm the home lesson begins. Their dad couldn't cope with it because this time should be his resting time after farm work. And so, whenever he settled down to teach them, he will be sleeping, at some other time he will be snoring, while he told them to be reading that he was listening. This home lesson with their dad couldn't last more than 30 minutes after each day. And when Ade noticed all this, he told their dad to relax, that he will start teaching Ayo and Afe every day. Next edition on True Life Story. How will Ayo and Afe cope with Ade, their new home lesson teacher? Remember, Ade is a disciplinarian and a no-nonsense man. Will his leopard change his skin? What is Mr. Alade's next move now that he was not going for his master degree program? These and many more are coming on your way on the next edition. Thanks for watching this video, and don't forget to subscribe, like, share and comment. Bye.